Hi, I am Denise Bond, and welcome to our Her Secrets webcast. I am your host, and I have a fantastic special guest, Geva Salerno, and I am so excited to have her here. As many of you know, she's an author. She is also the leader of the International Women's Movement, Over 40, Fearless and Free. And the topic that I have asked her to share with us on is going to be something that I know many of us have found ourselves faced with, and that is dating after divorce. And Geva, you and I both know there is so many different views out there, and you can Google on, you can look on the internet and you can find one that says wait, one that says go, one that's, so many different views. And so I've asked you to come on because I am a big learner about learning from people's personal experiences. I want to learn from somebody that has been there, done it, didn't just read out of a textbook, what was going to be the best for me. And so thank you for being here and for being willing to share your amazing journey with me, your audience, and my audience.
I'm really glad to be here, Denise. It's always a pleasure. And I'm excited to talk about this topic.
It's a hot topic, isn't it? It's a hot topic. It can either be one where you are excited that you jumped in it, or you're like, holy crap, I'm not ready for that. So I'm going to let you just kind of start us down the journey, and I'm going to ask some questions along the way. So kind of start with how you got to where you were ready to make a decision about what you were going to do with dating, and then what that decision was like for you.
Well, what happened for me was that in 2006, I got a divorce. I was married for 5 years and probably unhappily married for 4 years and like 10 months. So
with you, understand that. Yes.
Definitely lasted way longer than it should have.
Yes.
And then after the divorce, I kind of like jumped right in and was trying to date. I think, maybe I had waited a couple of months or something, but I jumped right in and I was doing this online dating, which was relatively new back then.
Yes.
And it just did not work for me at all. It was intriguing. It was like
new way of dating, a very disconnected way of dating is what I discovered when I started down that path. Because I'm like you, my form of dating was in person. I didn't know how to do the online, when it first came about. So absolutely.
Yeah. And the biggest thing was that I didn't know what I was looking for. And ironically, I made this rather detailed list and description of this person that I was looking for. And
awesome.
It didn't work because I guess throughout my life, I could always see the best in people. So I'm looking at these descriptions and, like, oh, that one, let me try that one, or let me try that one, that one, that one. And I ended up having what I call it, like a parade of odd characters that I ended up like going out on these semi-blind dates with, and it was frustrating. And also at the same time, I had been in nonprofit management for, let's see, maybe like 5 years at that point, 5 or 6 years. And I was total workaholic, like, which is so common with people in the nonprofit industry. Like, we want to save the world, and we get so wrapped up in the mission of nonprofit work that so at that time I was like obsessed with remarrying, and I was obsessed with working, so that at the end of the week I would come home and I was depleted. I was exhausted. And I had no plans and no life. So I would be like lying on the couch, exhausted, looking up, going, now what? I have no life. So at a certain point, I was like, this is just not working. I didn't have close friends. I didn't have anything to do. I didn't have any excitement. I said, this is just not working. My life was so boring and uncreative. unfulfilling and exhausting. So I said, let me take the one thing that I can kind of control, the one factor in the equation that I can pull out, and stop dating and just focus on building a new life. And I have to admit that part of my thinking, and it might have been subconscious, but it might have been conscious, I don't know, was if I have a fulfilling life, I will be more attractive. So that was, I have to admit that was part of the thinking on that. So I said, let me take 1 year off and try to rebuild my life. So what I did, and I do have a little bit of a science background. I have a degree in biochemistry, and it was kind of like an experiment. So I'm like designing this experiment. What would happen if I stopped dating and start creating a new life? But I have to say that it was not a scientific method. It wasn't like really organized or, scientists would tear their hair out of it.
Yeah, if they knew what you were doing. Yeah.
Because I actually followed my intuition through this journey. Yes. So I followed my intuition step by step and tried to build this new life. For me, that was about, okay, how do I want to spend my time? What would be really fun and fulfilling? So I started doing different activities, meeting new people. Part of it, I was thinking about this recently, part of it was about taking some new risks and saying yes to things that I maybe wouldn't have in the past, maybe things that I would brush off. But if my intuition said, oh, that's interesting, then I would follow it. I would follow it down the rabbit hole and see where it went. And the thing is that after about 6 or 8 months of this, my life was so completely different.
Yeah.
I was doing new activities. I started learning to play the guitar, was taking lessons. I went to an art class. I started to meet new people. I made new friends. I was going on these little trips with these new friends. It was so amazing. And my life was so different. And my relationships too were so different that I said, wow, I've got to share with other women that, you don't need to be stuck in a rut. You can actually change your life. So I wrote this book about it. Luckily, I had been keeping a journal throughout that year, because it made it easier. So I wrote this book called Center of Gravity, and it was all about finding my own center and coming back to who I was, so that you become the center of gravity to everyone around you. Yes. You're so attractive when you're happy,
Yes.
You're pulling in what you desire.
Yes.
And so I wrote that book, and I'm now able to share that journey with other women so that they can kind of look over my shoulder and watch all the crazy things that I was doing and trying and stuff.
Yes.
And building my life.
Do you think that, because this is exactly what I think you and I teach now, right? When we talk to women and we counsel or we coach, we're like, look, you can't find your identity by being with someone else or feeling that void. And so we'll talk a little bit like we're coaches now, because you naturally finding this journey is not normal, is not what I've seen to be normal in most of the women that I work with. So did you already have this great confidence within yourself before you got to this place, and it just continued to grow and you knew you had to nurture it? Or where did that confidence to be whole within yourself come from?
And the confidence to do the experiment?
That you just knew, I don't need a man. I need to find me and my life first, because you tell me your experience, because I'm just going to talk from mine. My experience is most of the women that I have worked with, me included, have been someone to somebody for so long that the identity of or being complete within ourselves, we don't know what that means anymore. I know for me, I woke up one day and was like, who am I? Whose life am I living? What has happened? And so, and when I'm working with women, I know with you are too, we want to teach them, look, this is a way to be whole. So you had to have that inner intuition within yourself that you knew, hey, I don't need to find my identity with someone else. I've got to be someone that someone wants first. That's an amazing mindset to have. Do you have that before?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about it?
I think it was really about getting just sick and tired of the life that I was living and feeling like I've got to try something. And honestly, I felt like I was drowning at that point. And I even, in the beginning of the book, I talk about, like, I felt like I was drowning and I had, like this distant shoreline available that I could see. But I just needed to, like, take a step. I've got to do something. I guess part of it comes from the fact that I was kind of like a gypsy and had like this gypsy upbringing with an unstable family. And if you look at the positive side of that, is that they were always trying something new. They were always, that on the one side you could look at it as instability, on the other side you could look at it as creativity and the fearlessness to try something new. So yeah, and I think my dad instilled in me early on that you don't need a man, you can do it yourself, and that kind of thing. So I mean, there is that.
Yes.
Let's look at the positives.
Look at I agree. And so the women that are watching us now that feel that same sense of, oh my God, I can relate to Geva so much. It is so draining and overwhelming just trying to date and sift through all of the muck. And I heard it, Geva, and I haven't told you this yet, but I was in church one time and a pastor was speaking. And he talked about, and this was amazing for a pastor. Apparently he said it because I needed to hear it. I don't know if you've ever been in a place where somebody says something and you're like, well, dang it, that was for me. There may have been 2,000 people in there, but that was for me. He said, instead of being so busy trying to find the one, why don't you become the one that your one is looking for? And I mean, I sat in that chair and I was like, oh, ouch, and wow. If that's not a shift of perspective, and that sounds perfectly in alignment with what you were able to do.
Yeah, and I have to admit that part of my thinking was that the kind of person out there who's interesting and really like solid, interesting man who's got it together, he's going to want a woman who has a life, right? So I thought, well, I need to go out and create a life. So that I have to admit that was part of the underlying psychology, whether I realized it or not. I'm sure that was there.
And that is that's a healthy individual. You reviewing it as a healthy man is going to want a healthy, emotional woman as well. And so, but that is beautiful. I'm sitting here thinking like, oh my God, this is great. She figured this stuff out on her own and now is using it to teach thousands of women that you come into contact with. Hey, this journey really changed me and helped me to create a better life, because we can create a better life. We just have to be willing to take the steps to do it and make the sacrifice.
Yeah, and I agree. There's so much psychology that goes into this too. I have to admit that it was a real learning process that year. I had to dig deep on some things. And one of them that I uncovered has to do with the very beginning of the book, where I talk about where I was on the phone with someone breaking up with a boyfriend, actually. So I had met this guy and I dated him for a little while after, prior to starting this experiment. And I knew in the minute, or I thought I knew in the moment that I broke up with him, that I was never going to date again. I was never going to have a significant relationship again. I was never going to be in love again. And but I felt like I have to end this thing because it's not right and it's not fulfilling. And so that was, I think, a year before. So that must have been in like 2010 that I had that relationship for a year and a half, something like that. So I had imprinted in my subconscious, I'm never going to meet someone again. And the reason for that was I also had in my subconscious that women after 40 are valueless.
We're going downhill.
If they are not married or have like this big super career, women after 40 are valueless. I had that, but I felt like society believed that. And if society believed that, all the men out there believed that, no one was going to want to date me.
Yeah.
That's why I was a workaholic at that time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I was working so hard on either work or dating because I really felt that if I don't get married soon, that, you know, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
So I had that in my subconscious, and I had to kind of unearth that during that year and really question that. And is that true?
Yeah.
Why do I think that's true? What is the supporting evidence that thought is true? Yeah. And what is to negate it? Is there evidence to negate that crazy idea that a woman after 40 is not valuable? So yes, there's plenty of evidence. Women after 40 are dating all the time.
Yes, they are.
You know? Yeah. Just, you know, look around. People are falling in love, and, you know, and I don't know. So in the book, I go into a little more detail about really pulling that crazy idea apart, starting to negate it, and starting to bring in some fresh ideas.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I tell you, I have a friend that's with me. I haven't seen her since college, and she is here visiting with me. So we haven't seen each other. So I'm 44 and she's 44, and we just had this discussion today, just to tell you. She's like, I feel this urgency that I've got to get married. Nobody's going to want me, and I've lost my looks. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, kid, we're the same age. We're my best is yet to come. And I have to believe that, because Geva, if this is as good as it gets, I don't know about you, hon, but there's sometimes I'm like, all right, come on now. If this is as good as it gets, there's got to be something better. Tell me there's something better. And we are both blessed. So it's not about complaining or not being sustained with what I have. I'm just like, come on. And I can tell you, my parents, they just celebrated their 19th year. My parents are pastors at their church, and they're in their 70s, and they have had greater life in the past 20 years than it just keeps going. And so with those moments where I start beating myself up with those limiting beliefs, and those beliefs can come from that we're getting too old, nobody's going to want us, or we're not successful enough, or I'm not good enough, you name it. I can write you a whole book on the limiting beliefs that I have had to uncover as well. And I think, I think it's not until we go through some trials that we actually find who we are and emerge fierce and strong. Because I can tell you who I am now at 44, and I know I'm still going to evolve. I still got stuff I'm going to be going through. Me at 44 and the me that was at 30 and the me that was at 20, I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't even, everyone asks, would you go back and fix your mistakes? Because I've been divorced twice. And they're like, would you I'm like, no, because if I had to change those, I wouldn't be able to be here sharing my testimony just like you are. So I'm okay. I was equipped with the strength I needed to get through the crap, the hard times, the test, so that then my test could become my testimony. So I feel it. I feel stronger now because of the failures and the setbacks and the time that I had to take to discover me so that I could make sure I was who I wanted to be. Now, there were several attempts at this creation that failed. So, you make mistakes. I joke that I'm a slow learner. I got to go through things a couple times to where I'm finally like, oh yeah, I probably should quit doing that because it never turns out really well. So no, I think wherever you're at that station in life, I think it just keeps, if you learn from it, if you look at those failures and look back and say, what can I learn from this, instead of sitting in the pain and the loss of, we're talking about divorce, instead of sitting in it and letting it consume you, what can you learn from it? How can you rise up fearless? I don't care whether you're 40, 50, 60. My mom is 74, Geva, and she was out last weekend at her family vacation, still surfing behind a boat at 74.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
And she's just, you just keep going. Life, you can change and you can create the life that you want. It takes work, but I am in agreement with you. My 40s are just my beginning. I just now know who I am. And I know I've only touched the peak. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And you're kind of hitting on like the most important part, which is when you know yourself.
Absolutely.
And when you start to do things that you enjoy, and it starts to light you up and you become so attractive.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's kind of what happened in that year towards the end. But I won't give too much away. I do end up meeting somebody and towards the end of the year, which didn't end up being something. But let me share a little bit about what happened next. So what happened after the book and after that year ended is I started to really do some interesting things. I ended up, I had always wanted to go to Paris, and I went to Paris by myself and had an amazing experience and adventure. And I think it might have been 1 year later or 2 years later, I went to Europe and lived there for 3 months and like popped around Europe, and it was amazing. And I came back and started another company with a friend that was very creative. It was called Creative Connection. But I still had work to do inside. So even though I was going to take a year off, I ended up taking quite a bit more time off from dating.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was like a light switch. You could just like flip it and like
turn it on. Yep.
Yeah. And then, so at a certain point I was like, well, I think I'm going to start dating now. And it just didn't happen. And then I was like, why isn't this happening? What's going on here? And there was another issue that I was kind of struggling with. So I took it to a counselor. I took it to a therapist and did therapy for a while and did like a really deep dive. And then, which I won't get into the details of that, but I'll say that the result is, let's see, how long did it take? I don't know. It was after quite a bit of therapy and working through some stuff and learning really what to look for in a mate. Yes. Learning some really essential stuff, that I started dating, and I met an amazing guy who, so here's the thing, I'm 52 now. I'm in the best relationship I have ever had.
That's
I'm
awesome.
talking 20s, 30s, 40s. I am in the best relationship of my life. Amazing guy. learned so much about myself and about relationship and about how to have a relationship, how to sustain a relationship.
Yes.
That I just want to share the good news that it is possible. Okay. It really is possible. And basically there's two things that you need to know. One is you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit. Doesn't mean you need to jump out of a plane, get out of a comfort zone, but you got to start taking the baby steps, and you can see that in the book. If you want like inspiration, you can read that book and read how somebody did it step by step. So taking some steps, and you're going to have to find out what's blocking you. What is in the subconscious that's blocking you? There's plenty of men out there. So you can, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're watching this broadcast, do not have the belief that there are either no good guys out there or that they're all taken, they're all married. That's all garbage. There's tons of men out there. You just need to know what you're looking for, be really clear, and you need to get rid of your blocks.
Yes.
So get rid of those blocks. So I'm telling you, I had to do a lot of work, a lot of emotional work to get to the point that I'm at now.
Yes.
But it's totally worth it. And I'm writing the second book, which
that's awesome.
Is not titled yet. And it's a way harder book to write than the first one. First one was like, here's what I did. And this one is like, here's what I did. And here is the deep dive emotionally.
Yeah, it's very vulnerable, having to be very vulnerable through it, aren't you? Yes.
It's being vulnerable, but it's, also just figuring it out, like, how did this happen? And what I want to be able to share, everything that I learned. And so it's exciting. The thing about what I'm learning right now about writing a book, or what I'm learning about writing in general is I'm finally writing for myself.
Right.
I'm writing this book so I can listen to myself and hear what happened and understand what happened. And so primarily, first and foremost, this book is for me.
For you. I love it.
Then after that, it's for everybody else.
I love it. Well, those of you that are watching with us, these are some powerful tips about what we're talking about, yes, is dating. But what we're really, really trying to impress upon you is something that both of us had to do, which was find ourselves, work through our own kind of junk first, so that we were who we wanted to be and loved ourselves enough so that we didn't look for that identity or that completion for anything or anyone else. And when you can get to that point, then you can take the steps. Like, Geva, I love that you said you wrote out, and I'm sure it got modified time and time again, what you wanted this individual to look like. And then you learn some boundaries of what you would and would not put up with, which has helped you because you learned more about what you wanted, more about what made you feel like, okay, this feels good to me. And you felt that courage enough to stand up for yourself, which is huge. Because a lot of times as we've come along the way, we've just kind of gone into whatever we felt was expected of us, or did what we thought we were supposed to do. We didn't know any different. So I always tell, all of our audience, don't beat yourself up. Don't relive, oh God, I wish I hadn't done that. You've got to let all that junk go. You can't live in the world of what ifs. You've got to just learn from it and learn who you are. And I love how you said you've got to uncover. And it just keeps going. There's multiple layers. About the time that I think I figured this one out, I've got about 52 other ones over here. I'm like, I got a lot more work I've got to do.
It's almost like at a certain point, the lessons come fast and furious,
They keep coming.
Every
You open
day.
like the can. Yes.
Every day.
Absolutely.
Learning.
Absolutely. But it falls into every relationship, not just romantic ones. I know that the stuff that I've learned, because I'm a fixer. I finally went to counseling as well. And I'm like, look, I've had too many relationships that are all similar. I'm the common denominator. So we got to figure out what I'm doing here, why I'm putting myself in these types of when I started dating. I'm like, why in the world am I doing this? And so I knew it was me. And I'm like you, I was like, okay, something's got to give. Something's got to change. And I reached out to a counselor, and those were my exact words that I shared with her. Her name is Susanna. I'm like, look, all right, something's wrong with me. It's me. I'm the one doing this to myself. I can no longer point a finger and blame him or blame him or blame him. They're working with the set of tools they had before I ever came along. I'm the one that was putting myself in those situations. So I had a lot of that deep work like you're talking about. But it also affected my business relationships got better. My family, my friendships got better. My even just connection with others that I met. It blossoms. The more that you blossom, that ripple effect. I love the name of your book, Center of Gravity, because the more that you shine, you pull in all the good things to you. And I'm a believer of that completely. Tell us a little bit before we jump off where the Facebook group started, because you have a phenomenal Facebook group. You've got 11,000 members in our group, over 40, Fearless and Free. Tell us a little bit about the birth of that.
Well, Over 40 Fearless and Free was really born around the time that the book was launched, when Center of Gravity was first published, because I wanted to share the message, but also I wanted to be around and draw in more fearless and free women.
Yes.
So that happened for sure. There's a lot of fearless and free women in the group, but there's
Absolutely.
a lot of women in the group that want to be fearless and free.
Yes.
So they're there
Yes.
to get support on their journey of becoming more fearless and free. And it's really fun to see like people connecting and supporting each other. And because it's a closed group and we are very careful about screening everybody that comes through to make sure they're female, make sure that they're sane,
Right. Yes.
We've created a really safe environment. So people are feel comfortable sharing, really personal stuff in there. And people have experienced a lot of growth. And I love being a part of that. I love supporting that. And, we call it a movement because the vision for this group is that it will be a network around the world. It's already around the world. 20% of our members are outside the United States, in mostly in the UK, but also in Australia, New Zealand, India, all over the world. But we want to really create this network of people who are connected, women that are connected to each other. And as they become happier, they are able to positively impact their sphere of influence. Yes. So their sphere of influence could be anything from their family to their school to their business to their government, whatever their sphere of influence is, they have support from other members in making positive change in the world. So Absolutely. That's kind of the vision.
And I love it. I'm a part of that group. I'm a part of that group as well. And I know a lot of times it's been my experience that we can be more open with strangers than we can people that we actually see and connect with every day. And I have witnessed in your group, especially just the women being able to say, hey, raising their hand and saying, hey, I need support, or hey, I have a question. I don't know how to handle this. So it's really, I commend you for building a safe haven for women to feel like they can show their true selves. Because a lot of times, especially in my world anyway, you put lipstick on and smile and don't ever pretend like you have a problem at all. We don't talk about it. Everything's perfect. It's fine. I've learned if I say the word fine, everybody around me know if I say fine really does not mean that everything is fine. Yeah. Fine is code word. But it's a great group. So that's so it's their Facebook group. Those of you that want to reach out and connect, it's Over 40 Fearless and Free. They can look that up and request to join. And then, Geva, if somebody wants to get their hands on Center of Gravity, their hands on your book, or even to connect with you, those of you that are watching us that are huge yogis, Jiva's a yoga instructor. She loves posting things about yoga and the connection that it has as well with your being. So how do they find you specifically as well?
Well, they can definitely connect with me on Facebook, but also on my website, which is gevasalerno.com. So GevaSalerno.com.
Perfect.
And just started a YouTube channel, so look for me there.
Awesome.
And Center of Gravity is on Amazon, and it's also on my website.
Perfect. Well, those of you, I haven't read it yet, so I'm going to. I'm being on. I have not read it yet. I'm going to order that and read it because it's like I said when we started this interview. I want to learn from somebody who's done it, who made the mistakes, who came back and said, "Whoa, this is a mistake. Try to go this way," because that's real to me. I want somebody who's real and shares their mishaps, their mistakes, their good fortune, whatever it might be. That's who I want to learn from. And I thank you for being one of those people who are impacting, like you said, this movement around the world. And who thought, and this is what I love to teach, who thought that where you were those years ago at the divorce would lead to this amazing impact that you have right now? I always say for change to happen, there's some form of chaos that ignites that change, and that it's like an accelerant. And so what a beautiful journey it is for me to sit and watch and listen to. So thank you for joining and sharing that with us.
Well, I'm so glad that you're a member and a part of it, because you definitely have the same kind of spirit and values, and you bring a lot of energy to the group. It's great. And I appreciate doing the interview. We've got a really exciting year ahead because we're looking to do some retreats and some
awesome
local events around the world. So a lot of good stuff coming up. And I am looking forward to meeting you in person, Denise.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited too. I'm excited too. I mean, I love the collaborations. I love the connection because it's all about the vision and the impact. That's what it's about. And I know that that's your heart as well. So thank you. Those of you, I'll put Geva's contact information, and I will also reiterate the name of the Facebook group so that you can connect from our audience, can connect in there. And Geva, thank you for being a guest on Her Secrets webcast. This was great. I've enjoyed it. It's like sitting and talking with a friend. So
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will be in touch with you, and we'll keep everyone abreast of what great things that we have coming along, because we're only just beginning, ladies. We may be, you're right. 52 and 44. Those of you that think you're over 40 means you're going downhill, or over 50, we're living testimonies to tell you we've only just begun. So that's you might as well jump on and join us on this ride, because we're definitely going somewhere. We're going somewhere. So, all right, Geva, thank you so much for joining me, and I will talk with you soon.
Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. Bye-bye.